Hi everyone, and welcome back to Anti-Timeshare Tuesdays. My name is Chrissy with Deviated Observations. Today we'll be diving into 5 horrible reviews of timeshares. Just to remind you, never buy a timeshare, and everything a timeshare salesman says and does is a straight up lie. Starting off with number 5 is Helen of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. She writes, "We placed our timeshare at Bonnet Creek for rent through Wyndham's Extra Holidays program. It was rented, but instead of sending us a check, they kept the money and returned the points, which we do not have time to use, back into our account. Moreover, they never informed us they were doing this. It took several phone calls to find out what was going on and that we were not going to get our rental income." Let's remember this review the next time a salesman tries to tell you you can make rental income off your timeshare. Number 4, Kimberly of Palmyra, Nebraska says, "While on vacation with my husband and 2 children ages 13 and 10, we were offered 4 free show tickets and free breakfast in Las Vegas in exchange for sitting through a 90-minute timeshare presentation. We were shuttled from our hotel to the Wyndham, given the breakfast, then sat down for the presentation with Moses." This did not match his name tag, by the way. "My kids were offered a coloring book for entertainment as stated. They were 13 and 10 years old. First sign this may go poorly. The representative was personable, as he should be in the sales field, but very degrading, making fun of our choice of hotel we were staying at, the age of our vehicles, the types of vacations we do take, and so on. He kept telling my husband that I deserve better, which is a complete insult to me and my husband. After 2.5 hours, my husband told him we had plans for the rest of the day and we had already given him 90 minutes. He then showed us all these packages that he already knew we could not afford, again degrading us for our level of income. An hour later, my husband told him we were done. Just give us our tickets and we would be on our way. Moses then brings out his manager, who approves another package. We advised him, we are done. Give us our tickets, please. So he puts us in line for our show tickets, which turns out to be non-existent. The show is not open on the day we were promised. So Moses, looking for a scapegoat, tells me that the girl who set up our show tickets will be fired. In disbelief, I say that is not what we want, and he insists it will happen. I say again, she should not lose her job over this, and he says, oh yes, she should. By this time, I am in tears, and he says he will give us an Amex card for the value of the tickets. He leaves us standing in a crowd of people to do this, then comes back and said his manager will not approve that, so we can get in line to pick another show. I say, just let me lead, so he hands us off to another employee who directs us to the shuttle back to our hotel. We will never use any product owned by Wyndham, and will tell everyone we know about our experience. I only rated this 1 star because negative stars were not an option. So here's another common tactic they use. Sometimes you will sit through hours of timeshare presentations. Hours! And they'll find a way to weasel their way out of whatever they promised you. Again, it's just not worth it. And what are you going to do if they don't give you what you were promised? Who are you going to complain to? No one, because no one's going to care. They'll just laugh at you and move on to other potential victims. You could call or write a letter to someone, but they have thousands of other complaints to deal with people who actually signed contracts with them, so your concern is going right at the bottom. Imagine how sour you'd be after that. It's not worth ruining your vacation. Number 3, Kelly of Land O'Lakes, Florida says, "I am an owner. Please listen to me if you are now reading this and even thinking of becoming a timeshare owner. Don't I wish somebody had written this? When you're there, it's exciting and beautiful, but you only realize what you've done afterwards. You can't get out of it. You can never go back unless you default, which will hurt you. I go to Westgate, and every time I go, I have to meet with my concierge, and I have to sit in a room to have them upsell me, and if I don't buy right then, I have to sign a paper that says for the rest of my life, I may never upgrade. I get badgered on my vacation and held hostage until I finally have to be rude and say I've had enough. Right now, their new referral program, I have to pay them $49 to actually get them referrals. And I made a referral for somebody who really wanted to do it, besides my warnings, and they didn't deliver the reward I was supposed to get. They say they are pet-friendly, but then raise the fees to bring your pets to $170. They change policies without telling you, and you're miles from home with a pet, and now you've got to cough up $170 from $80 that it used to be. They raise your maintenance fees every other year, guaranteed. The resort is beautiful, but it's not worth the anxiety, the headache, and heartache. Trust me, don't make the mistake I did. So, imagine buying a timeshare and finding out that every time you use it, you have to pay $170 to bring your pet along. Most hotels only charge a $20 per pet fee. I guess you don't get any perks as a quote-unquote owner. I am starting to think you're less of an owner of a timeshare and more of a quote-unquote sucker. Number 2. Linda of Shakopee, Minnesota writes, Vita Vacations, November 2019, kept us 11 hours in a high-pressure sales pitch. They lied about their fees, that there was no annual fee, there was, for $1,000, about buying our timeshares. They instead used a broker, billing us an additional $8,000 in brokerage fees, which they stated if we didn't pay, we would lose all booking privileges and Vita dollars. They have offered a lesser purchase for lesser money, but we were very unhappy with their dishonesty and preferred not to purchase. We want out of our agreement and at least some of our $6,000 investment. We have filed complaints with Profitco and our state's Attorney General's office for high pressure, senior scamming, and fraud. So I'm going to say this for the millionth time. Timeshares always come with hidden fees. Whether they be broker fees, maintenance fees, cleaning fees, special assessments. It's ridiculously expensive to own a timeshare. They will lie to you, and as long as they don't write it down, they can get away with telling you anything. Also, all timeshares are notorious for pouncing on the elderly. If you are elderly, stay away from there. Just don't even go near a timeshare. It's ridiculous. And our number 1 worst review is Jason of Milton, Ontario, Canada, who writes, We were offered a special discounted price of Disney tickets if we paid for them in advance and agreed to attend a 90-minute presentation session. We did it mainly to get the tickets because the advertised price was better than others. The man, Frank, first let us have our breakfast at the buffet, which was some scrambled eggs, sausage, and hash browns. That's it. He then started the sales presentation and kept referencing he only gets 90 minutes. He calls the offer property share, but after hearing his explanation, it's basically timeshare dressed up a bit nicer. During this presentation, they offered to put my 5-year-old son in the childcare room. More on this later. He also got us to sign a letter saying that if we turned down the offer that we'd never try again. He gave a little lecture about how much the company invests in doing these presentations. Forget the number, somewhere between $400 and $800, which is a joke. It doesn't cost several hundreds to make the most basic breakfast food for the masses, and pay some commission wages to the sales staff. During the presentation, he refused to give out any cost numbers until the very end. After showing us the demo unit, and we sat back down, he finally showed us the numbers, and we were interested, but cautious. We said that our money is being held by our financial planner and bank, and we need to talk to them about letting money go for this. He pushed for a buy, if you want it, or don't if you don't. We said we can't commit without taking a bit of time to go over it. He said he'd give us a few more minutes to think about it. He came back with the textbook sales technique of, I went to my manager to see what else we can do for you. And all of a sudden we were considered VIP potential customers. Some lady who claimed to be from management came and sat down and cut the fees a portion. We started to explain the same dilemma, and as we were speaking to her, she got up, interrupted us, and said, So I'll let you discuss with your family the offer. She completely ignored what we were saying and wasn't paying attention at all to us. She got up and went a few tables over and started talking to them with the exact same verbatim she did with us. We did discuss it, but again declined to Frank for the same fundamental reason, that they're trying to get us to make an immediate and expensive commitment without the opportunity to think about it or research it. Funny that Frank didn't mention the state's buyer's remorse law that states within a certain period of days, I think it's 10, we can change our mind and get a complete refund. Frank said okay, and that he had to get the manager back to close the offer, not close the deal. The same lady came back and then said she'd closed the presentation, but then did another textbook sales technique and asked Frank if he showed us a modified deal and asked if he wanted permission to give me a special offer. This was all done in front of me, so she gave the offer and then left, leaving Frank to explain it in detail. We just flat out said no, as this only 90-minute sales presentation is now going into its third hour. The only way this presentation takes 90 minutes is if you walk out on them. Otherwise, they'll keep offering a lower price deal after every rejection until the cows come home. After our most recent no, he got visibly upset, snatched the papers off the desk, and shook our hands and walked away. Going back to childcare, we didn't have our cell phone with us, so Frank offered to give his number as the contact number to the childcare place in case something happened. And all throughout the presentation, he has looked on his phone. When I went to pick him up, they said he started feeling a bit unwell, coughed a lot, and that they tried calling the contact number twice during the presentation. Frank never said anything to us. How dare he keep that from us just so he can make a sale? He knows that if the childcare center is calling, that means something is wrong and his presentation is over. He sat on it. Like I said, he has looked on his phone a lot during the presentation and kept it from us. I was livid. Oh, during the presentation, he showed us 2 texts from satisfied customers saying that they want his contact number so they can refer their friends to him. He said he got those texts while he was waiting for us to discuss the reduced price offers. Very coincidental. I also recall during the early part of the sales pitch that if we don't take one today, they'll all be snatched up tomorrow by others. After our several rejections, and he gave us that lower price deal, one that allows us to pay less and not commit as much, he said. This way you can enjoy the facility while getting comfortable with it even though you're not committing to buying, because there's always many of our suits available at any time of the year. So now he's completely flip-flopping on one of his pressure points, because it suits him now. If for no other reason, I will never consider them again because of what he did to my son, but there are so many other reasons why I won't ever go with them. Stay away. Okay, first of all, never buy a discounted ticket from a timeshare person. They get all this stuff for free from their head office. But some salespeople have gotten really clever, and instead of just giving them away to come to their timeshare presentation, they now charge money for the tickets, but still make you go through a timeshare presentation. It's a sneaky way for them to make some money. No, 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 no. If you're wasting your time, you're not going for a discount. You're going for free. If you're going to spend hours somewhere, and no matter how short they promise it will be hours of your life you'll never get back. Make sure you get your money's worth. Imagine having to sit through a timeshare presentation just for a discount. Like, where is your common sense? Also, this review honestly proves what we've known all along, that timeshare salespeople are so sleazy, they'd throw your own children under a bus if it meant they could get a sale. So that's all for today. This is Chrissy with Deviated Observations. Stay safe, stay informed.